Will former Kansas State quarterback Will Howard be Ohio State starting quarterback in 2024?
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We had a feeling there would be some changes with the Ohio State football program in 2024, and some of those changes will be happening very, very soon. Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes here on Thursday, January 4th in the year 2024. I am your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. There are going to be changes happening to Ohio State's football program very, very soon. May it be coaching changes, may it be acquisitions from the portal, or players leaving the team to enter the portal. There will be changes that will be happening in Columbus. Some of them you can kind of pick out and say, oh, that's one, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Well, we have talked about one that's possibly going to happen a lot this offseason, and it is the Buckeyes going to the portal to get a quarterback. And I think the Buckeyes have their eyes set on former Kansas State quarterback Will Howard as being the next QB1 at Ohio State. And ultimately, I am very happy with Ryan Day with the move. They just continually going out there to seek help in the portal at the quarterback position. This is one of those things that I'm not just talking about consistently here on the show. It's one that, one, I do believe, but also, two, it's one that I think is going to be very beneficial for the football team to go get a quarterback in the portal that is proven. What have I said consistently here on this show? The quarterbacks that are currently on the roster and the one that's a freshman, incoming freshman, they have one thing in common. They're unproven. That's not their fault. It's just the nature of the beast. The thought was Devin Brown nor Lincoln Kienholz would have been needed in the Cotton Bowl because Kyle McCord would have been there. That was the thought when the Cotton Bowl matchup was announced on Selection Sunday in college football. And then you get those two guys in there. Brown gets hurt. Kienholz is a true freshman who really wasn't prepared very well for the moment. Great. That's cool. But that's where we are. The guys currently on the roster are unproven. Will Howard, what does he bring to the table? What does he add to Ohio State? Number one, he has started 30 games. So automatically, he's already at the top of the list already for having 30 starts under his belt. What does he have also statistically and numerically? And we'll get to some of the things we saw in the film here as well. 61.3 completion percentage, that's not too hot. It's okay, but it's not thing that you're going to say, ooh, we got to have that guy on our team. 2,600 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns. The 10 interceptions, that's not hot. That's not good. An 8-4 record this year at Kansas State. The one thing he adds that I really don't know if that's really like is strong suit. He had 351 rushing yards and ran for 9 rushing touchdowns. So he had more total touchdowns than Kyle McCord. They both matched each other and tied for 24 passing touchdowns during the 12 games that they played at their respective schools in 2023. McCord, not a threat on the ground. Not at all. But one thing about Will Howard, as I watched the tape and I saw some film, I said, oh, okay. So not only can Kansas State call some things, or do they call some things for Howard to do some things with his legs, also Howard can do some things that aren't in the playbook. I saw him break some long 20, 30-plus yard runs, multiple that went to pay dirt touchdowns. One of them was almost a run. I even saw a veer, and I'm sitting here like, whoa, a veer with this quarterback? And I know he's not an amazing guy, but there are some wrinkles and things you can do with Will Howard that you cannot do with Devin Brown, or maybe you can, just haven't seen it. And I think Kienholz can, but he does not have the experience that Will Howard brings to the table. I went back and started to look and compare Will Howard and Kyle McCord to kind of compare and see where they stand with each other. As far as in these statistical categories, who won the battle? Who had more? Who was better here? Completion percentage goes to Kyle McCord. Passing yards goes to Kyle McCord. They tied for passing touchdowns. They both threw 24 this year. Who had the least amount of interceptions? It was Kyle McCord. Now, where does Will Howard step up? It's in the rush game. Had more rushes, better yards per carry at 4.3, 351 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. I don't have the sack-adjusted numbers for the rushes, so there very well could have been 400 total rushing yards on the season for Will Howard, which does add a wrinkle that maybe Ryan Day is going to tap into. But then again, here's the problem. I didn't think I was going to go here today, but it's in context with the story. The most athletic quarterback Ryan Day has coached at Ohio State is Justin Fields. As good as JT Barrett was in 2017, his athleticism is not the athleticism of Justin Fields. JT Barrett, great, but we're not going to see Ryan Day go back to the 2017 offense at Ohio State. One thing we know is athleticism, athletic quarterbacks. I'm not saying Will Howard's athletic as far as like athletic, super mobile quarterbacks. I'm not saying that. But I don't know if Ryan Day is really going to use his legs, which is going to be a downfall for Will Howard, who is more of just a solid guy. He's not an amazing guy. I saw when he was kind of weighing in. Will it be Miami? Will it be USC? Will it be Ohio State? Will it be to the NFL? And I'm like, bro, you're not an NFL quarterback right now. You need more time in college. You need to be seasoned. You need to get more reps under your belt in college. Don't go to the NFL right. No. No, go to the NFL right now. No. Don't do that. And for Ohio State, he is an upgrade. Will Howard, if he decides to commit to Ohio State, he is an upgrade over the guys currently on the roster. He's almost similar to Kyle McCord, but Kyle McCord's more accurate, which makes Kyle McCord a better fit for Ryan Day's offense. But I really wonder if Will Howard comes to Ohio State, how Ryan Day will tap into the legs and use that weapon on the field. Because next year, let's say Ryan Day is still the head coach and they're running a similar offense, but use more runs to utilize Will Howard's legs. I'll be on the show. Jeff Hunt was on the show yesterday. He'll be on the show. Mo Murphy will be on the show. My guy Corey Thompson will be on the show. And we'll all be discussing why in the world is he using this stuff now when he didn't use it previously? When you had quarterbacks previously, they were better suited for the dual threat or mobile quarterback style of play calling, but you didn't do it. Now, the thing is, okay, great. It's a part of growth, and Ryan Day's growing and adjusting. But once again, why didn't you do it previously? Because if you did, there's a good chance Ohio State could have won a natty in previous seasons. I don't know. Just thinking about stuff out loud here on the show. But one thing I do know is this. Among the guys that are still in the portal, this is coming from 247 Sports, who do a phenomenal job of ranking and keeping track of the quarterbacks in the portal. Malachi Nelson is still the top-rated quarterback available in the portal from USC. I don't think Ohio State's on his radar. Caden Salter, the Liberty quarterback, is currently in the portal as well. Recently entered the portal on January 2nd. So post-bowl game, he goes into the portal. Great, cool. Go out there and do some amazing things. Will Howard is currently the third best quarterback via 247 Sports in their tracking of the transfer portal that is currently uncommitted and available right now. If he's the guy, great. Snag him. Do a good job of it. And I say snag because if you don't snag him, somebody else will take him when you want his services at your school. Will Howard, is he an amazing quarterback? No. Is he a future NFL star? Don't think so. But one thing he is solid. He has more experience than any quarterback currently on the roster or will be on the roster next year. And ultimately, I think that is an upgrade based on what's currently in Columbus right now. So let's just say Will Howard commits to Ohio State, leaves a portal to play in Columbus next year. How does that impact the quarterback room? We dive into that next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. And even an hour after it starts, it's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the seat and Gametime picks you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats. For big-time savings, and the Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you with 110% of the difference. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, guys, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports streaming channel found only at the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So think about how you would feel. There was a guy who is a newcomer at your profession. The profession you've been doing for quite a long time, but not as long as a guy who's now coming in. He was a well sought out person by your boss. They kind of had conversations over a course of a few weeks, and then bam, here he is day one. And you thought you were doing things well. You thought you were doing things great. You were the top so far at this point in time in the office. Next thing you know, this new guy comes in, and what does he do? Throw a new wrinkle out there. You see something different. You see the boss acting in a way that you haven't seen him act in a few years, and you get a little disgruntled. You get a little unhappy. This is a scenario that could easily happen at Ohio State with Devin Brown or even Lincoln Kienholz. Possibly Aaron Noland, but I don't truly think Aaron Noland is really going to have the same response as Devin Brown or Lincoln Kienholz if Will Howard commits to Ohio State. There's going to be a direct impact on the guys that are currently on the roster at Ohio State if Will Howard commits. You can't go anywhere without that. It's definitely going to be an impact, and honestly, it could be positive or it could be negative. And this is not a shot at the culture at Ohio State. If any of the quarterbacks have a negative thought or response with Will Howard or potentially him committing to Ohio State, I am not saying there's a problem if there's a negative response. It's just human nature. And I think if you were in one of those quarterback shoes, especially the two older guys and Brown and Kienholz, you might be a little uneasy. You might feel some type of way if all of a sudden the first portal window, once it closes, a couple days later or maybe even a day later, it is announced that a guy who just took a visit to your school is now committing to your school, and you know he's only committing because he's going to be the starting quarterback. Absolutely. You would be upset. Absolutely. You would be a little unsettled with what's going on. But that's not a shot at the culture of the school. It's just the nature of the beast and part of being a college football player. I'm happy Ryan Day is pursuing Will Howard. He's not the most athletic. He's not the best quarterback in the world. But trust me, you need some type of experience on this roster. And what you're getting with Will Howard. You know he's proven. You know exactly what kind of quarterback he is. You don't have the same thing to say about the other guys there. Now, if I'm Devin Brown, and let's just say that either today, later today, or even tomorrow, or sometime this weekend, Will Howard commits to Ohio State, man, I'd be upset. I'd be upset. You thought, hey, Kyle McCord is gone. It is now my time to shine and to show everybody, all the Buckeye fans in the world, what I can do as Ohio State starting quarterback. That is exactly what I planned on doing. But what do we have right in front of us? A guy who comes in and steals the show. A guy who comes in and, I'm not calling him Mr. Steal Your Girl. I don't know his way of about carrying himself. But it's kind of that way, man. Like, Ohio State's not your girl. Maybe you covet the QB1 spot as it is your girl, but hey, man, call Will Howard Mr. Steal Your Girl because he wanted to come in here and steal your job. You had it for a quarter. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Even in that portion of the quarter that he played, it didn't seem like the Buckeyes were truly trying to see what kind of talent Devin Brown had on the football field. Hey, man, I don't know. I'm still confused about that as well. One thing I'm not confused about is the potential impact on the quarterback room, and it's just what you got to do. It's what you got to deal with. Now, I think it was Tim Walton last year, maybe it was in the spring, talked about what the secondary was doing and what they were focusing on in his position room specifically. And he's like, hey, man, we ain't worried about culture. We're here to compete. Now, that is a comment from a guy who is a seasoned coach and realizes sometimes you got to ruffle some feathers. Sometimes you got to make guys a little bit upset to accomplish the goal. And in doing so, yeah, it might fracture you're trying to build up a culture, yes, but also you're trying to compete. And while competing, you're trying to make sure that the competition you're seeing leads to players being successful on the field and the best players playing on Saturday afternoons or even evenings in the fall. Great. And so when I think about Will Howard and potentially bringing him in to be the starting quarterback, because one, I didn't say this earlier, he ain't coming here if he ain't starting. We can stop that right there. If you think he's coming here and he's not planning on starting or not being told he's going to be the starter, I would pause that and say, ooh, think about that once again. If you're a guy that is as seasoned as him, 30 starts in college football, this year you led a team 8-4 record, 2,600 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns. You added 9 rushing touchdowns and 351 rushing yards. Hey, you're doing something right, and you're going to be a highly sought-after quarterback in the portal. You're only going to go somewhere when you got 1 year left of eligibility. You're only going to go somewhere where you know you can start right now. That's just where we are. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Do you think Justin Fields would have transferred to Ohio State from Georgia if he wasn't going to start? I use that thought on purpose because I don't think he would have. I don't at all. Now, there was other conversation that they didn't name Justin Fields a starter until August. Don't nobody care about that nonsense. That's just Ryan Day playing with people's minds. Do you really think Ryan Day didn't think Kyle McCord was going to be the starter this entire year going into the season? Like, I understand it was a quarterback competition. That wasn't just in word. It was actually something that we saw on the field. But was that truly a competition, or was it Ryan Day trying to get Devin Brown more reps so the backup was more prepared for the season? Truly, I don't know. But I know what we heard. Competition. That didn't seem like a competition. You had one between Jack Miller and Stroud, but that was even still Stroud's job most of the time. Fields, that was his. Haskins had a QB battle, but ultimately Burrow got hurt. Burrow transferred, and even then, that 2018 season, we all saw who had the better year that year. It will have an impact on the quarterback room. Guys might leave. It's just where we are in the sport. There's nothing wrong with it. There's also nothing wrong with the hashtag that Tyleik Williams posted on Wednesday when he made an announcement about where he'll play football in 2024. We'll go into that and dive into that next, mixing up words on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you simply place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays. and more. If you are looking to put money on the college football playoff national championship right now, the favorite, the spread is Michigan -4.5. The over-under is set at 55.5. If you don't want to put money on the spread, great. I completely understand why you would or would not. I think your better bet is to put money on the over-under, which is currently set at 55.5. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. And did you know Billiards Plus has top-of-the-line grills with up to 30-year warranties? That's longer than most roofs. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and LaGriddle. That could very well be the last grill you own. The perfect gift for any occasion is in stock at Billiards Plus. Go big with an awesome pool table or shuffleboard table, or a little more modest with a dartboard or poker table. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. And the people at Billiards Plus are the best part of the experience. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole entire staff will take amazing care of you. Billiards Plus. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. #Free91. Now, that was something that I heard a couple of years ago when Tyleik Williams was a little upset with the playing time that he was getting at Ohio State. And ultimately, I don't blame him. It was one of those things that when you saw, hey, why is he not playing more? Why is this not something that we're seeing more on the field? And that thing that we wanted to see more on the field was Tyleik Williams playing the football. Well, Tyleik Williams, and this was a day when there was a full day of news dumps at Ohio State. Tyleik Williams posted earlier on Wednesday, 5 o'clock with 2 exclamation points, the red emojis. Okay, cool. We locked in. You got that post scheduled, whatever it is. We're waiting for it. And Tyleik Williams at the top says #Free91. And I'm only going to read the last little part here where he says he's not done making memories at Ohio State, and he will be at Ohio State next year for year number 4. Here we go. I'm just going to read the last part, I'm just going to cut out one word. Quote, I want to thank Ohio State for everything. The best band and the best fans in the world. Thanks for bringing me in with open arms and allowing me to put on that jersey and represent you all. I'll never forget the memories I have created. That's because I ain't done making them yet. Year 4, let's do it. End quote. The top #Free91. I'm here for that continuing to be a thing. And when Jack Sawyer made a comment about Ohio State and saying, hey, there are guys here that a little upset, a little disgruntled, not pleased with the way things have gone for them during the tenure at Ohio State, and they want to maybe ride this thing out. Hey, Jack Sawyer, I hadn't made an official announcement. I think Jack is going to stay. Michael Hall Jr. is gone. I'm not really worried about stay. Cool. Go. I think the D-line is going to be fine in the upcoming year. But Tyleik Williams staying, this is a guy that could have gone to the NFL and probably been drafted in the 2nd round. Probably not a first-round guy, but probably a guy is going to get drafted in the 2nd round. And with his limited play, not really, the coach is kind of not playing him in a lot previously, and then this year kind of seeing Tyleik Williams the entire package consistently. This is a guy, by staying at Ohio State, what is he doing? Not only making memories, Tyleik Williams is making millions of dollars in the NFL draft in 2025 by staying and showing everybody he's not a guy that just did it one year consistently on the football field. He can do it over and over and over and over and over. And if he gets more dominant next year and wreaks more havoc, it gives more quarterbacks nightmares and night terrors. What are we doing? We're setting the Buckeyes defense up for success. JT, I'm not sure what his thoughts going to be. Still Chambers, off to the NFL. Ike, I believe he is done. Proctor, done. Ransom, not sure. Yeah. Igbenogson, I believe he has to stay. Sonny Styles, he does have to stay. The one guy on defense that I'm waiting for, and that is Denzel Burke, who is making his announcement on January 10th. He already has made his mind up about what he's going to do next year. However, he's not making it public until after the college football season is complete. I don't think, like, I understand if you want to wait. I don't think if he announced tomorrow or today, if it would really hurt or put a black eye or pull people's interest away from the Natty on Monday. I don't think it would at all. Those are two really good teams in Michigan and Washington, and it should be a really good national championship. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where it's just a blowout like last year with Georgia and TCU. I don't expect that this year with Washington and Michigan. However, it could still happen. Hey, hashtag free 91. Now, he wasn't the only Buckeye or former Buckeye that made announcements on Wednesday. Former Buckeye punter Jesse Mirka, who was a 3-year punter at Ohio State, transferred to Vanderbilt. I made a comment. It's not really being upset with where he went. I thought he would have wanted to go to a winner, a team where he could win a national championship or at least win a conference championship. That's not happening at Vanderbilt. More power to him. Great for you. Hey, go out and do your thing next year, and hopefully he has a future in the NFL. Who was the other one? Julian Fleming ended up transferring back home to his home state of Pennsylvania to play for Penn State next year. And I do believe this date is the Buckeyes and Nittany Lions battle next year or in the fall in about 11 months from now is November the 2nd. So circle that date and let everybody know, hey, Fleming is going to play his former team in the final month of the upcoming regular season. That is one game that's already going to have a lot of storylines and different things thrown into it. When you add in the fact that Fleming, a guy who had been at Ohio State his entire collegiate career, is now going to Penn State, hey, circle that. Get your popcorn ready. One of the odd things about this, I understand you want to leave. I understand you want a bigger role. I understand why you may choose Penn State. Drew Aller is not really an impressive quarterback. I've seen him play numerous times. I'm sure you have as well. Wouldn't you want to go to a school that has a quarterback that can get you the ball consistently? It ain't all about being the number one receiver, which great. I mean, it is. It's a very important piece of why he chose Penn State. But also, Drew Aller is not really an impressive quarterback. He's not. Why go there? That's where he wanted to go. Wanted to go back home. Not mad about it. But I hope James Franklin figures out something to get his new wide receiver one, as they had another receiver transfer away from the school recently. They figure out a way to get Fleming the ball. Out of here on a Thursday, Buckeye fans. One more show left. Trying to have tomorrow be about Ohio State's coaches and changes that Ryan Day needs to make this offseason with the coaching staff. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at jstevens07. Send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. We're out of here on a Thursday, the first Thursday in the new year, Buckeye fans. I'll see you next time.